Now, Nigeria's Petroleum Industry Bill (PIB) completed its passage through the both houses of Parliament on the 16th of July 2021. And before President Buhari signed the PIB, the bill had languished in successive assemblies dating back to the early 2000s, and the Ninth National Assembly, however, broke these jinx with the Senate passing the bill on July 15, 2021, while the House of Representatives followed suit on the 16th of July. How far will the long-awaited Petroleum Industry Act go in solving the challenges that were hitherto bedeviling the sector? Joining the conversation is a Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, House of Representatives, Umar El Yakub. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's start by asking you what you think about this administration and the timely assent by President Muhammadu Buhari. I'm talking about the PIB.
Well, let me firstly congratulate President Muhammadu Buhari, the leadership and members of the National Assembly for this significant milestone. It's very significant because, as you had mentioned earlier, this has been in the works for decades, at least for 2 decades, and it only came to light in this administration. And this happened because of the resolve and the commitment of both Mr. President, the leadership and members of the National Assembly to work together to ensure good governance in this country, to be partners in nation building. And we can see this and many other achievements of this administration in terms of the relationship between the executive arm and the legislature in order to collaboratively work together in ensuring that bills and government policies that borders on the lives of Nigerians are given priority. The National Assembly had lived up to that, and certainly the President has committed to that and has, in the last, since the inception of the Ninth Assembly, has demonstrated that in more ways than one. So this is a significant achievement, and it is certainly for the betterment of the country and the Nigerian people, as it has reforms, inbuilt reforms in the Act in order to ensure transparency, accountability in the operations of the oil sector in this country.
Well, significant achievement indeed. So now that it has been passed, what impact are we expecting in the oil and gas sector?
First of all, it will bring about the needed investment in the oil and gas sector, because investors now have a framework which is something that they had been looking for in terms of fiscal framework, in terms of regulatory framework, whereby, as I'm sure you understand, the Act has now given birth to the creation of 2 regulatory agencies, as well as the NNPC Limited. Of course, we have the Upstream Regulatory Commission, which would administer the activities and in the upstream sector in terms of regulations, and the Mid and Downstream Regulatory Development Authority, as well as the NNPC Limited. So with these institutions, you'll find that focus has been given to the significant and critical sectors of the industry, to the extent that you will now have easy planning, and the fiscal measures also would attract investment because there will be less taxes and royalties, which means there will be investment in exploration in midstream and downstream, and that would translate to creating a value chain, especially in the midstream and downstream sector, whereby Nigerians will be involved in businesses, industries will spring up because of the activities of refineries, of chemical plants, fertilizer plants, and of course in the marketing sector in the downstream. So it's a holistic change that would bring about needed investment for development and job creation.
Okay,
and
so
of course, the issue of the host communities
yes,
is also
I was just
something.
about to ask you that how that will benefit the host communities.
Well, the host communities will benefit directly because now they have a percentage, which is 3%,
3%.
Of
allocation.
No, yeah, is 3% of the production expenditure of the oil companies going directly to the host communities for their own development. They decide what kind of programs, what kind of schemes, what kind of infrastructural developments they need,
want to do with
and
it.
what they are going to do with the money. And it will be administered by a trust, and the trust will be membership will be drawn from the host communities. So certainly it would be very impactful to them because now they decide on how to spend their resources for their own benefit.
Okay, so apart from the host communities, what other group in Nigeria will benefit from the assent of this PIB bill?
Well, I suppose all Nigerians will benefit from the assent of the PIB bill because, like I said, there are a lot of activities will spring up based on the, opening of the space because now investors will come in and invest in the different segments of the industry and thereby creating jobs. But at the same time, government revenues will increase because there will be increased activities and plowing that into infrastructural development for the Nigerian people. So obviously with all that, Nigerians will benefit. And of course, there is the issue of the frontier exploration also, which different parts of Nigeria, i.e. the different basins across the country will benefit from that investment to start the exploration of oil and gas.
In terms of employment creation, what are we expecting? Because in everything we do, we also look at the involvement of youths and how we can develop our economy.
I believe the youth will benefit the most from this because, like I said, having created the right business environment, because NNPC as a company would also operate in a business manner because it's going to be a karma company. It's going to be, a limited liability company like all the other companies that operate in the space, the Shells, the Chevrons, and others. And the shares of NNPC would be held in trust by the Ministry of Finance Incorporated and the Ministry of Petroleum Incorporated, which will have the same ratio of shares that they will be holding on behalf of the Nigerian government. And NNPC would have a board and they would have, policies of the companies will be determined by the board. And it will create a lot of value because there will be, now there is being brought transparency and accountability in the way the company would be operated, and as opposed to how it was operated in the past. I'm sure we all remember that NNPC were not publishing accounts for many years since inception until very recently. And deepening also the local content environment that the Act provides for would ensure that Nigerians will get the required skills and will be employed in the value chain of the oil and gas industry.
Okay, let's look at investment now. How would this actually attract investors both from Nigeria and outside the country, talking about foreign direct investment?
Now they have a clear understanding because we are now operating within aligning our policies with the global standards. And you have a fiscal regime that also look at the realities of the moment as opposed to what used to operate, which is why I said, you find that the Act envisages a lower tax and lower royalties so as to bring about the desired investment into the sector. And that should be, and there are other incentives that would bring investors to come in and invest, because now they have a framework that they can relate to in terms of they know that their investment is safe. They know that there is, the environmental challenges that we have had before. Now it's within the bill that has been addressed to the extent that the communities directly are working with the investors to ensure that, investment is made via their trust funds, and best practices are enshrined in the way we operate.
Okay, before we let you go, let's quickly have your closing thoughts on the assent to the PIB by the president.
Well, I believe this is very significant, and it's a legacy thing for this administration. The fact that it has been in the works for so long, and you can see the president signed it with dispatch, even in isolation, because of his confidence and belief in the value of the bill to the Nigerian people. Like every other thing, President Buhari, has a commitment to ensuring that whatever is in the interest of the Nigerian public, he makes sure that he puts his mark on it. And certainly by signing this bill in isolation, has also confirmed that his commitment to the Nigerian project, and indeed delivering on his promises on ensuring good governance, transparency, accountability in the entire country, and of course in the petroleum industry in this regard, to be specific.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate you, Honorable Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, House of Representatives Umar El Yakub, for joining the conversation. And thank you for that great insight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Bosede Ibo is waiting to tell us developments from the capital market. Let's find out how stocks traded.